I'm not really sure if it's coincidence or call it a stroke of luck, but last year at exactly the same time, I had actually done the last unboxing video of the year. And that, of course, was a 1/48 scale F-15K Slam Eagle. And it just so happens that this year again, I have the last unboxing video of the year as a 1/48 scale model. And ladies and gentlemen, this time we are going to look at this, a lovely kit from Hella in 1/48 scale. This is the Jaguar GR1/GR3. Now I decided to do this as my last build of the year. Of course, once I start off with a build, it is definitely going to spill into the following year. So you can expect to see the full build of the Jaguar GR1 as the first video of 2026. So here we have the Hella 1/48 Jaguar GR1/GR3, and you can see that beautiful picture of two Jaguars flying in formation. You can see that they are kind of climbing upwards, and there is a runway and an airfield right underneath them. So they're not at a very high altitude, but they're climbing upwards. A very nice picture of the two Jaguars. And so let's have a look at the rest of the box itself. So it says Fabriqué en France, which means made in France or fabricated in France. And then it's got various languages which mention that it is a model kit. Looking at the first side, longer edge, you've got the Hella Fabriqué en France, the kit number 80427. It says 1/48 Jaguar GR1 GR3. Gives you some information about the Jaguar in French and English. So you've got French here and you've got GB or English here. And it says that the Jaguar was the first of several successful Anglo-French aviation projects begun in the 1960s. Both France and the UK badly needed a cost-effective, lightweight, uncomplicated ground attack aircraft, and in 1965 joint specification was agreed. The prime contractors were to be Breguet in France, later to become Dassault Breguet, and the British Aircraft Corporation, who formed SEPECAT. So this is actually known by the name of SEPECAT Jaguar. So SEPECAT stands for Société Européenne de Production d'Avions d'École de Combat et pour Tactique, which means the Society for Development of Tactical Combat Aircraft. The British Jaguar S single-seat strike and Jaguar B two-seat trainer were respectively designed as the GR1 and T2, and both types entered service in 1973. During the Gulf War, early in 1991, 12 Jaguar GR1As were based at Bahrain. British versions of the Jaguar have also been exported to Ecuador, India, where the type is always used in large numbers. And we'll talk about that soon. Nigeria and Oman. The British Jaguars ceased to be in active service in the Royal Air Force in May 2007. Now, mentioning this information, it means that this is a very recent tooling. So, and we'll have a look at that. So, and then it gives some certain specifications of the Jaguar. Its wingspan about 8.69 meters, length 16.83 meters, height about 4.89. It's got two Rolls-Royce Turbomeca RB172 Ardor Mark 102 turbofans with afterburners. Maximum speed is 1320 kilometers an hour, so just under Mach 2. Internal armament is two Aden 30mm cannons. External armaments, 5 external stations, can carry a maximum load of 4,536 kilograms. All right, so the shorter edge has the same Hella branding with the kit number 80427. It says 1/48 Jaguar GR1/GR3 and the same box art that you have on the main box cover. Looking at the other side, longer edge is exactly the same as the other longer edge. And then we have the back of the box, which has some information. So it tells you which paint schemes you can build with this kit. So you've got a UK SEPECAT Jaguar GR1 XZ112/GA 42 Squadron Breeze Norton, September 1991. You got SEPECAT Jaguar GR3 XX112 EA 6 Squadron Cotichal, October 2004. Then you've got a Jaguar GR1 XX116 from 16 Squadron. Then you've got a Jaguar GR1 XZ356 Mary Rose from 41 Squadron, again Cotichal, March 1991. And then you got the India specific or Indian Air Force SEPECAT Jaguar IS JS197. So JS197 is from 16 Squadron, but it mentions Breeze Norton, September 1991. So either this is taken from one of the exercises that the Jaguars might have been part of in the UK back in September 1991, but I don't really remember if Jaguars had ever gone for any international exercises at that point in time.
Because this is the period when the Gulf War had just ended. It was fought in the months of January to March 1991. And considering the rather volatile situation of the world affairs, I'm not sure if India was interested in sending its Jaguars overseas for exercises.
And then you've got certain warning information here. It says intended for collectors aged 14 and over. Pictures are not binding. Plastic model kit ready to assemble and paint. Glue and paints are not included. Recommended glue and Heller paints. So they've given you the call out for Heller paints here. And here they show you the dimensions: 350 mm, which is 35 centimeters by 18 centimeters. That's going to be the length and width of this fully built model. And it's got 128 pieces. And it says packaging and instructions to be retained, can be used as a storage box. Okay, but I don't think it's really usable as a storage box. It's very, very flimsy. I mean, I don't think I can store anything in this, anything worthwhile in this. Anyway, so let's come to the box and open it up. So it opens from the front. The flap opens up like so, and here we are. So those are the goodies inside the box, and we are greeted with first the instructions, then we have the clear parts, then we have a single plastic bag with the sprues, and that is it. That's it. Or is it so? No, look at this. Very deceiving. It actually looked as if you know, the lower side of the box is kind of light bluish, but then this is actually the entire decal sheet. Have a look at that. Absolutely stunning. So looking at the fact that it gives you 5 different paint schemes to work on, of course in the end it's just one kit, so you will be able to work on only one particular paint scheme. And as you know, I will be going for the Indian Air Force version, exactly as it is given at the back of the box. So these are the British version markings, and something surprising here, and I'm not sure why this is. So this is the Royal Air Force markings, and if I look at the box art, there's something surprising that I noticed. Now, the aircraft seems to be of the same squadron because the logo seems similar, and that looks like a Ferrari logo, which is interesting. Do we have the Ferrari logo here? I don't see the Ferrari logo anywhere. Now that's surprising. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we do have it. So now surprising, or rather, this is strange for me. So this Jaguar has a kind of squadron insignia on the tail, whereas this Jaguar has a GM marking here on the tail. This shows XZ391. Now from the image it's not really clear whether this is on the fuselage or on the tail. You can't see the tail number of this Jaguar, but assuming they're from the same squadron, because this has the checkerboard here, this also has this checkerboard here. So my question is, why would two Jaguars from the same squadron have different tail insignia? So this has the Royal Air Force flag and this doesn't. Whereas you see the tail, the dielectric assembly has the checkerboard here and here as well. Why would there be two different tail markings? Was it non-standard on British Jaguars? Because I'll give you a revelation. The Indian Air Force paint markings or the paint schemes are not standard across squadrons, across even different aircraft in the same squadron. So sometimes you will see roundels of different sizes which are painted on the wings, on the underside of the wings, or on the sides of the nose. You will see different sizes of roundels, different sizes of even the squadron insignia and stuff like that. So in the Indian Air Force, the markings are non-standard. So is it the same with the Royal Air Force as well? Because I was under the impression that the markings are pretty standard. Anyway, so let's put the box aside. Let's have a look at the instruction sheet first. Here we are. So that's the instruction sheet, a plain instruction sheet in black and white. Starts with some information in various languages. This is exactly the same information about the Jaguar that you saw on the box. So let's skip this across. Gives you the Heller paint schemes, paint callouts here. All the paint numbers are given here. And then it gives you the 5 markings that you can build the Jaguar in. So we begin with the assembly of the ejection seat, the instrument panel, and we come straight to the construction of the landing gear assembly here. That's pretty strange because usually after the construction of the interiors, you move on to the painting of the interiors and the assembly of the fuselage. But here they're saying that you start assembling the wheels. Well, there could be a reason behind that. We'll see. Then it comes to the weapons, the reconnaissance pod, then jumps in back into the interior assembly and the assembly of the fuselage, the tail, the wings, more weapons. This is the BL-755, probably the Beluga cluster bomb, and then the assembly of the landing gear inside the fuselage, the assembly of the engine exhausts, assembly of the air brakes, putting the weapons on, putting more of the landing gear assembly. So I think there's a lot of steps for the landing gear assembly here. Looks like the landing gear is pretty detailed on this one. And then we move on to the construction of the pylons. Depending on the weapons that you're going to mount, you've got your central fuselage pylon, you've got your FEMAT shaft dispenser, you've got your ECM jamming pod here, and you've got the weapon hardpoints here. So they've shown you how you can mount all of those weapons. But this of course is the British Jaguar version, and I will be building the Indian Air Force version. So probably I'm going to use the bombs and the FEMAT dispenser. I'm not sure if the Indian Jaguars carried the FEMAT, but I'll do some research before I begin. And then you come to the paint scheme. So this is the first one, XZ112, so Royal Air Force Jaguar. Here's the second one, the paint scheme for, oh no, it's the first one itself. So the left side and the right side. Here's the second paint scheme. This is X112 from 6th Squadron. This is probably an all gray version. The previous one was a camouflaged version. Okay, so probably at some point, and then you have this black Jaguar. This is from 16 Squadron XX116. That looks pretty cool, a black Jaguar. How cool would that be? And then moving on to the 41 Squadron Jaguar. This is an all grey paint scheme. And then last but not the least, you've got the Indian Air Force version, which is the Jaguar IS version. This is pretty cool. The camouflage, the dielectrics, it's going to look very, very cool. And that's the end of the instruction sheet. So let's put that to the side and let's have a look at the sprues now. So this is your clear sprues. You've got some landing lights. You've got probably an HUD here. You've got a front windshield and the rear canopy. Parts are looking good. Pretty nice. And then finally we've got the bag of goodies where all the sprues rest. So single plastic bag, all the sprues inside it. Some of them are dangling, which is to be expected. It's an old kit. So let's cut open the plastic. There we go. And let's see. Hopefully no parts are missing. All right. So here we are. And the first one, let me put the rest to the side. Zoom in. Here's the fuselage. Nicely engraved panel lines there on the fuselage. Beautifully done. Here's the left side of the fuselage, or left side half of the fuselage. Very nicely done. So those are the two sprues. Then we come to the next sprue, which is wings. It's got your horizontal stabilizers. It's got cockpit details here, air brakes, the exhaust nozzles, the wheels, nicely detailed, the nose landing gear cover, and that's about it. Nice looking sprues there. And then the last sprue. So this seems to be a pretty simple to build kit. This is entirely the weapon sprues. So you've got your sidewinders. Now the Indian Jaguars did not carry the sidewinders. We had the Magic missiles. So the Jaguars were configured for firing the French Magic missiles. You've got your ECM dispenser here. You've got your FIMAT shaft dispenser here. You've got your drop tanks here. You got your reconnaissance pod here, bombs here, the rather long pitot tube of the Jaguar. Here's the ejection seat assembly. Looks pretty good. And you've also got your cannons. Nice detailing. The panel lines look very, very nice. And that's it. So that's the last sprue. So just two of these airframe sprues, if you consider these as two separate, so 4 sprues and a 5th clear sprue. That's all. Pretty simple. I think it's not going to take much time to build up, considering that the fuselage is entirely in one single piece. Now the thing to note here is that the Indian Air Force Jaguars had the dielectric panel out here. I don't see that in here, but there should be some provision to build it. Whether that's there or not, I'll check the instructions and build it accordingly. So let's get on with this build, and thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If you liked this video, do click the thumbs up. Do consider subscribing to the channel. Don't forget to comment, because I love interacting in the comments. I love to read your comments. That's the way it keeps me engaged with my viewers. And of course, before I close, I wish you all happy holidays and a very happy new year. Looking forward to the build in the next year. So Swing Wing Sing signing off. Bye-bye.